I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Catholics and Orthodox members point to John 6 as a foreshadow of what Christ will do at the Lord's Supper. However, the Passover narrative is completely absent from Jesus' discourse. Is this the emphasis of the passage rather than pointing to the new Exodus with Christ as our new Moses and heaven as our new Jerusalem? Well, this is one of those questions that I would love to do on Wednesday night because there is so much to unpack. But it begins with Catholic and Orthodox use John chapter 6, where Jesus says that talking about his body and his blood must be eaten and drank, pointing to what we know as the Passover. A lot of things going on there. Now, number one, Catholics and Orthodox traditionally believe in what's called transubstantiation. That when one of their priests gets up with the Lord's Supper elements and prays over them, they actually become the body and blood of Christ per John chapter 6, verse 54, etc. Now, what's interesting about that is at the Passover, per this question, that's not even really addressed or mentioned. You're absolutely right. In fact, the difference is Jesus talks about his blood being a new covenant pictured in the wine. He talks about his body as a sacrifice pictured in the bread. He does not at the Passover tell them to eat his body and to drink his blood. So per the question, you're absolutely right. And I do believe the doctrine of transubstantiation, though very prolific in our world, I do not believe it is biblically sustainable. Now, the second half of the question deals with the aspect of the Exodus in the New Jerusalem. What's interesting there is in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18, Moses himself, obviously inspired by the Holy Spirit, said that the Messiah would come in like fashion as him, basically saying that Jesus, the Messiah, would do what he did, is set the captives free, deliver us out of the bondage of our sin into the quote-unquote promised land. So yes, I do believe that the person of Jesus, the ministry of Jesus, when seen prophetically through the ministry of Moses, does do as the question was posed. Again, going back to the initial question though, biblical evidence for transubstantiation is just not there. Great question. If you have one, send it to AskJeff.net, and maybe your question for tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.